ATG, all three of us, Fernando, Brendan, and I, had really bad shin splints over a decade if you add it up between the three of us. And we're going to try to take you through at live speed our actual shin formula. We don't have shin splints anymore thanks to this data. Fernando's doing step 1. Brendan and I are doing step 2. Fernando is unlocking the mobility and strength of the big toe. Now Brendan and I are turning that into a calf raise. This scales by leaning forward, or in mine and Brendan's case, 2 legs. But now we could progress this tremendously by loading into 1 leg, and Fernando will show progressing on the big toe. What we're doing here with steps 1 and 2, starting from the big toe, there's then a muscle. Flexor hallucis longus. Flexor, hallucis means of the big toe. Longus, it goes 2/3 the way up the calf. It's one of the longest muscles in the human body. We want every ounce of pain-free ability we can get to protect ourselves. So here's steps 1 and 2. Now, Brendan will explain step 3 while Fernando and I demonstrate it. Yep. I'm showing the 0 version, and then Fernando will show the loaded version. So Fernando and I will both be doing step 3. If I stand closer, that's easier. If I stand farther, that's harder. And of course, Fernando, it loads by the bar. My mom has gotten a lot out of that exercise because anyone can start it.
So, yeah, we started at a good place. Anyone who's had chronic shin pain knows you're going to have foot pain eventually, ankle pain. Shin splints start at the big toe, at the FHL. And so if we carried up to where he was showing, wraps around the arch in the back of the foot and the back of the ankle, and then it's going to go through the interior of the shin. And this is where people can sometimes feel like, yeah, I get how that's good for the shin, but I have pain behind. I have compartment syndrome or posterior tibialis pain or the shin splints here.
That's what all three of us had most. I had it down the middle, but we had it most in that part. So that's the number one question is, but I don't have shin splints, I have here. Well, that's what Brendan's explained. That's what we had.
Here's the correlation that's almost always there. Pain in the back, weakness in the front. Those two are almost always present. I've never seen someone with really bad pain in the back and absolutely strong world record shins in the front. It doesn't really work. So Ben is showing the regress version from the 0 program. Changed my life, changed lots of people's lives. What I like about the difference is you can see he gets the tight contraction at the top, the short range. What Fernando gets is now the stretch. So he's getting even more opportunity for gains in the tibialis and stretching out the tendons of the front of the ankle that tie in. And so it's not as straightforward as build this one muscle. We started with the foot, we went up through the front, and now we can see it actually ties into that pain that a lot of people actually are stuck on.
And now the third main muscle into our 4th step. Brandon's going to show the machine version. I'm going to stay over here at my wall station. These are the first 3 steps of knee ability 0. I've got the FHL calf raise, the tibialis raise. Tibia is the shin bone. Anterior, technically this is anterior tibialis raise. That's the anterior front tibia, that shin bone. Now I'm going to the 3rd step, the knee over toe or seated calf raise, which works the soleus. And Fernando is going to explain the soleus.
So the soleus, meaning the sole, the lower leg, okay, is one of the strongest muscles per pound. And as you can see here, I love a machine if you have access to it because you can scale it. The stronger you need to be, the more weight you have, okay? So
and over here would be doing it.
Yeah, and that's the
legs.
regress at home, which is still a great way.
You also control
2
how
legs.
much. So once you're like, man, I can really handle that pain-free, well, now you could start rebuilding.
Exactly. And this is a deeper calf muscle underneath the gastroc, which is the one you kind of see that protrudes. And again, as somebody I've always had a very strong extension, also strong squat, strong deadlift, but I couldn't harness that power. And so when I compared to any other athlete who did not have shin splints, I always found that my seated calf exercise, my strength in the soleus was significantly weaker than these other guys who didn't experience this pain. So you have to have the brakes and the harness power and strength for your extension and for your speed.
I think we all can relate to having pretty pathetic soleus strength relative to other athletes we've seen who are like, what's shin splints? I was having to pre-wrap and tape my lower legs just for practice. It was demoralizing having to get to practice half an hour before everyone else, be rolling it out, icing it. I mean, I thought I was just getting over my knee problems. Now spending all this time. So it's been liberating building this stuff. And we should clarify on these terms. So Fernando mentioned gastroc. It's actually gastrocnemius, which means like belly of the leg. So so this one is the one we see. Oh, calf. Soleus is lower and deeper.
Yeah.
You don't see it as much.
You can see it a little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes underneath there.
Yeah, you can see if the pressure leans forward a bit, you can now see some go into there. So now you're getting the soleus, and beneath that is the Achilles tendon, the biggest, strongest, thickest tendon in the human body. Tendon is stronger than muscle pound for pound. So it's like muscle's our first line of defense. If that's too weak for the area, now the tendon starts getting pulled on. Now you're basically like pulling the tendon off the bone. So it's kind of, when it comes to things like shin splints or even jumper's knee, I think of them as a math equation. No, it doesn't have to exist. It's not mysterious. It's known. We can train it. We can improve it. But you might have to start. You might have to start here on the big toe.
Right.
Yeah.
And like I couldn't do this at first. I couldn't do. I was pathetically weak here. Pathetically weak. So
One step unlocks
You start
the
at the
next.
level you can do without any pain.
Right.
So we're 4 steps in now. We're each going to quickly show you why we do our step 5. Drew, you can come around to that side. We got the light coming in there. Carl Peterson was a Canadian downhill ski physiotherapist. We're talking some of the most knee injuries in sports. He took them from the majority having surgeries to not surgeries, cleaning up gold medals. Success leaves clues. His step up, you're on the ball of the foot, pushing through the knee. So this one scales here by assisted, and even for this protocol, doing this so you can do it like this, just owning that position.
That's insane.
It's big time. Brennan's going to explain some more about this,
So,
and then Fernando will as well.
So the success leaves clues aspect, if we looked at pictures of some of the world's best 1-foot jumpers, pull up MJ Soleus, you could find a LeBron James picture, even sprinters, Sidney McLaughlin, one of the best 400 world record holders, I think, for the hurdles. They all have this muscle coming all the way through. It's the bicep of bodybuilding, but for athletics. And now this goes back to what we were saying earlier. The shin needs the foot to be strong to express what you have there. So what looks like balance, when you start this, you're gonna feel like you just cannot keep your heel up. Strength is truly what allows balance to go through. If you look at a ballerina, they can do this stuff. They could be up on the foot.
Great per
and
pound. They're very strong per pound.
at the lower legs, so while it is useful, regain your balance with some hands, gradually the goal is that you can feel through the arch of the foot, through the soleus, and build everything up from the ground up. It just doesn't make sense to have shin splints and be super strong here. It's gonna ramp up your athleticism. So.
And the final step of the protocol, Brendan will just hop over here on a calf stretch. That is such a strengthening position. You'll finish it down, and your final step will just be stretching out your calves.
Yeah.
Just standing on and stretching the calves. But Fernando had the strongest knees at ATG, and so he has his own explanation of why this is important.
It just comes down to that ability to harness the power, to be able to hold, to brakes, kind of what I was saying earlier. And I used to do this Poliquin step up, popularized, made by Charles Poliquin, which really is an incredible knee rehab exercise. But I found that I already had these significantly stronger than my lower legs. So as I ran faster, as I jumped higher and had stronger knees, I was getting more shin splints. And the Peterson actually was a humbling experience because I realized, wow, my calf was a limiting factor in this exercise. And so it helped me realize that I needed to increase the strength of my lower leg to be able to harness my hip and knee strength.
Yeah.
So I want to show a contrast now because we showed the formula, but we're going to show a couple more things. Xavier is live, going to take our standard half body weight, lifting that with the hip flexors, meaning not muscles that put force into the ground, but ones that pick up the leg. Xavier was the primary athlete that we observed at ATG, and we noticed, wow, relative to those of us strength training, he is so much stronger in these muscles that pick up the leg. So he's been training very balanced this whole time. So he never got the terrible shin splints. Brendan, why don't you count his reps?
1, 2,
You can
3.
count them in your head. We'll see what he gets. So 20 reps would be our standard here.
Nice.
And that took me quite a few years to achieve. I think Fernando, no offense, is like
I'm like,
I don't even think you can do 3 sets of it.
no.
Right, and we want to be able to do in a workout, no problem, half body weight, 3 sets of 20 in a workout.
Skin 20 right now. That's the standard he just hit.
So the moment I started doing a bench press,
Nice.
but wasn't lifting a bar with my ankles, I was deviating from
There you
the
go.
body's natural design. So when you deviate from the intended design, you can expect consequences. So shin splints and even knee problems, these were all consequences for me of deviating. And now by restoring what's natural, all the symptoms are gone. I can experience all the forces.
you
Never
go.
thought I
Cool.
would dunk a basketball with 1 foot. Now it's a joy. How many?
Got 48.
Are you
That's
serious?
my count? Yeah, no joke. Over double the standard.
Definitely.
Well, I would encourage you to
I
try.
counted about 40, but just definitely
Yeah.
double.
I would encourage you to try that. Now, the first thing is going to be like, well, I don't have that setup. And we totally
Right.
understand. There should be ATGs all over the world. You have to understand, we are brand spanking new. So Fernando's going to show you our favorite version from home. So when I'm from my home gym half the year, I absolutely love this version. I'll even rattle off, trying here even more minimalistic. So Fernando's able to get motion. Oh yeah, and that would be easier. Now show harder.
There it is.
Amazing. Same thing for me here. This would be easier.
Yeah.
This would be a great start. Boom. Harder.
And the pirouettes just help. You can do it on the ground, but it's
Yeah.
obviously less room.
Great point. So you,
But-
you really don't need anything
Anything.
to start zero.
At all.
But we're online coaches, so we can help you progress. It doesn't mean that. So yeah, you don't need anything here actually.
Right.
So if holding everything up, dropping 1 foot is a little bit easier.
Yep.
You can alternate every
That's
2
how I
seconds.
built mine.
And then just here,
Yep.
this is even easier. So this would actually be the starting point.
For sure.
But it doesn't mean that there's not equipment,
Tools
solutions.
make it way more fun.
Yeah, and Brendan
sure.
will show one more here
Yeah.
that
a
can
classic.
mimic, because there's something fun about motion. So that else it can get boring without motion. This may be the greatest all around to hit the lower abs, hip flexor, and even that muscle you see there on sprinters to extend.
Yeah.
So that may be the overall king. It's pretty special though when you get on the low cable for the low ab and the hip flexor.
And you
for
can measure the load.
measurable. And this also is measurable. And for pure hip flexor, if you go to failure, I mean, it's impressive.
And
So,
here's the catch. Back glute contracted, tall.
great point.
It's one thing, you can't see it from the front, but people start just heaving up.
Yep.
You can't actually extend the hip if you're not able to flex at the same time, stay tall.
I've actually had sore glutes from doing this, believe it or
Same.
not.
Same. So
Stabilizers.
So these are our 4 main options. We can show B-roll here of Xavier putting ankle weights on, toes to bar, which if you do it on stall bars is way harder than just toes to bar regular because you can't swing back.
Yeah.
So that would be another option. Stall bars are probably the least accessible in gyms. A lot of European gyms have them. So we would absolutely accept and coach your form on stall bars too. But these are the most accessible. Now,
Yeah.
we're gonna head over here and Brendan is gonna explain this last final piece of our shin pain video and why this relates.
So Nordics are loved for speed, and we get that. But part of the reason why it
I'll
works
demo
for
one rep as perfect as I
Go
can.
for it. Let's
just
see.
so you know what to predict.
by the CEO, the perfect. Boom. Hands behind back, glutes contracted, shoulders above hips. That's clean. Really good eccentric. Can you do one more eccentric? And I want to explain something.
Yep.
So you can even see through the calf. It's not like this is shutting off. The best calf contraction you'll ever see flexing will be on a Nordic, which shows you the more you can pull the ground sprinting. We have B-roll of this. Straight touchdown and pulling. It starts through the soleus and through the Nordic. People that are good at Nordics usually going to have better calves. And so this is a sore next bench, which if you're super serious about athleticism, you got to find a way to get a Nordic bench because it's so scalable. You can load
Ooh,
it,
that was nice.
and it's a challenge for everybody. Fern has probably double a back squat than me, but he's still going to be sore tomorrow because of these eccentrics. And so
Bert Soren invented this, Bert Soren of Sorenex, after seeing Adam Archuleta go from 16 years old, no college recruitment, to 22 years old, first round NFL draft pick. His trainer had him 6 years on this. So if you're just starting now and you want to wonder why we're like so many of us, Fernando and I, going into our 30s, less pain, more athletic. Well, we're actually only following routes of clues of people who transformed over
Adam
time.
Archuleta was, when I was a young football player, was one of my idols. His transformation was what I wanted to do, and that's how I started doing these. And again, talking about structural balance, the balance. If you get stronger in your hip extension, jumping, sprinting, you need to have the hip flexors. I was always weak in all the reverse motions and all the breaks and all the harnessing. I couldn't do a Nordic. I had weak hip flexors. I had weak calves. So I was like, why do I squat 400 or 500 pounds, deadlift 500 pounds, but I can't run fast, I can't jump high? Because I couldn't absorb it. So this was a major, major unlocking of my potential, and really allowed me to break from a low 5-second 40 down to multiple recorded 4.4s at 27 years old. From, you know, you're not supposed to be able to run fast.
Well, even now is your best pain-free performance now.
Yeah, I'm still on 33, and I'm still.
You probably would be more athletic at 40 than now. And I think the same for me.
Very likely.
So let's explain what's the difference from an Olympic weightlifter who can compete with some sprinters for 30 yards is because the first 10 steps is projection, pushing, pushing, pushing. And then from the drive phase transition, when you have an upright top end speed, that's when all the triple flexion comes in, the hip flexors, the tib raises, the knee flexion. So
Fernando's start, we'll show on the screen, is mostly triple extension.
Everything.
That first step is all low back, glutes, and even that VMO and quad, it's the extensors. But then the end of your mid-phase transition and your top speed is all going to be that Nordic, that calf, even upper body.
We can compare from the visuals yesterday of Fernando doing the start to Brendan at top speed, and we can see, so now we really have like 6 zones of incredible potential, meaning ankle both ways. And it doesn't mean there's not lateral stuff too, but just huge potential ankle both ways, meaning calf and tibialis. From this video, you could see Peterson step up and Nordic. And then say hip extension, whether it's coming out of a squat or a back extension would be a really easy way to see it. Back extension plus that. So if you look at a back extension here, plus Brendan doing that monkey foot, 6 zones. And I wanted to mention, because people ask, so because Bert came up with this like 20 plus years ago, rather than just make my own, because we could make our own, I'm working with Bert to make a scalable version of this. And separately, the guy who created the Nordstick reached out to me knowing I'm about American made, and this is American made.
Nice.
So this is a collab with Nordstick and ATG, and you see Brennan there. And this door isn't even built for it well, and it's still, I mean, any door in a house pretty much is going to work great for this.
Amazing eccentric strength, and even if you cannot do the concentric where you come up, the eccentric is you're probably getting 90% of your gains from. Okay, so
it's all I do. I don't even do concentric at this point.
It's really, that's really the key. So anywhere where you can work this and get stronger and stronger, keep that torso straighter and straighter, that's where you're going to unlock the most potential there, and really change your own ability to break and harness, and like Ben was showing, you know, really be able to pull that ground when you're 1 foot jumping and
knee protection.
For the ACL,
it kind of works as a second ACL.
For sure. Going from the back of the femur to the front of the tibia. If this is the home solution, so we bring up 0 just because what would have changed my life when I was 16? Just 0. I wouldn't have needed anything but maybe even $50. I don't even know. It's pretty cheap. Nordstick, get a tib bar, eventually slowly build up my home gym. I didn't have to wait to get athletic. I thought I needed like a hack squat machine or some special thing. Especially you get more injured, you need more fancy tools. And it's the opposite. To get out of pain, it's simple.
In his goal speed, even Usain Bolt, world's fastest man ever, was training from like worse than your local gym, and honestly was strapping up to a cable and doing hip flexors and intuitively doing a lot of these things. So you guys absolutely crushed it. Thank you so much for watching. I remember having 4,000 subscribers, I said I'm going to keep this channel on education. I don't want ads popping up. So hopefully YouTube keeps its end of the bargain. I think legally they can still put a little bit of ads, but here we are, over 940,000 subscribers. Still no ad money, but it's because you support us. So supporting our American-made equipment, it usually costs a little bit more, but it's going to last longer. It's supporting purposeful, well-paying jobs, and then we all work, all of us here at HQ, we all work online so that what we do here, this unique stuff we started doing here in Florida, pro athletes coming from around the world, that you can do it anywhere as affordably as possible. Because I wouldn't have been able to afford to have elite personal trainers and stuff. Not to mention, even if I went to an elite personal trainer, I don't think anyone was going to deliver this kind of stuff for my problems athletically.
So we're training just like you. It's on the board. What we do here is what we deliver to you. There's a lot of experts train their clients one way, but they don't do it themselves, and that's not to call shots, but it's just to say, like, we're all on the same team here. We think the route, so world-class ability is the route out of pain. So Ben's mom is doing all the same stuff.
If it works, it should work.
Period.
I'm doing the best I've done. I'm yesterday having to repeatedly shoot scenes, throw down dunks, go into a splits. It's all been easier than ever. And it's not because of secrets.
Yeah.
There's no secrets here. We're selling you on our service and our quality of service. And Fernando made, speaking of service, quality, no secrets. There's no secret what I'm drinking in here. Although, knees over toes, guys, secret stuff coming soon. Proprietary blend. No.
Right.
So when I'm training and we're playing basketball and these kind of things, I grew up sipping Gatorade.
Yeah.
What I wouldn't have given for something like this, no artificial colors and all that stuff, but also it's giving me essential amino acids, which is what protein is going to break down to. So I'm not, as much as I want to do whey protein, I get kind of messed up and even I tried the organic, grass-fed, I just kind of get messed up from it.
Yep.
Digestion isn't as good. I haven't tried any protein powder that I digest like perfectly. No bloating, perfectly. This I digest perfectly. And it's loading up my electrolytes, which unless we're like sipping water out of a river and all this stuff, basically, I think we're low in
Coconut
it.
water is good, but then some people shouldn't be drinking that much sugar. So
I don't like the sugar, but if I was, let's say, a football, so I'm
no,
trying
if
to be
you're
the
training
best.
for over an hour,